Good morning, friends, and welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to be making a big batch of bone broth or chicken broth. I'm actually using chicken and bones, so it's a combo and it gets nice and gelatinous if you want to keep it in the fridge and just sip on it as a delicious broth. But what I'm using it for is to stock my freezer. The holidays are coming up and I'm going to need broth here and there, and I love these super cubes, but I have one left. So these are all empty. Let's get started and make some bone broth, chicken broth, and have it ready for our freezer for any recipes we need it for. Let's go. So to make my broth today, I'm actually using 4 rotisserie chickens, and then also we're actually going to enjoy the chicken as well. So what I'm doing is removing all the breast meat, and then I'm also going to remove the dark meat, but most of the actual rotisserie chicken that's left is going to actually go into the pot. I do remove the skin. My daughter likes the skin, so sometimes I'll give her the crispy skin, but otherwise we actually put everything in the actual Instant Pot. I have a 10-quart Instant Pot, and it can fit all 4 of these chickens with the actual meat removed. Now, if there is like any pink or like purple or like hard pieces of meat, like when I actually recook them, because they're never fully cooked when I get them at the supermarket, I don't know what it is. Like, I know they tempt them, but for some reason I see undercooked chicken a little bit too often, so I do cook them for an additional 30 minutes when I get home, and they're still nice and moist, meaning they were not fully cooked. But sometimes I'll get that one chicken that is just a little tough, or in a little spot it'll be a little tough, so I take that chicken and put it in the Instant Pot because it still has nutrition and it can add to our broth. And then I do remove all of the skin and I keep that to the side. Then you can also get the meat on the bottom of the chicken. The breast is the easiest meat. We actually love having chicken breast and the chicken meat on hand. I can use it for chicken pot pie. I can use it for my chicken bake. I don't know if you saw my chicken and stuffing casserole, which is super delicious. This meat is perfect for that. But really, we actually just snack on this through the week. We can add it to salads. My family loves hot sauce. We are big fans of Buffalo's chickens and all of that. So what I do is we'll just add this to a bowl with some hot sauce, which is so good. And then I have all of this meat left over and bones, and I did try to remove as much skin as possible. And then I'm just going to go to my garden. I actually ran out of fresh herbs in the fridge, so I have beautiful dill and beautiful parsley. Although my parsley is a little bit struggling, my dill is actually thriving, and I'm really happy about that. The weather has been kind of wonky here. It's been cold and hot, so I'm getting what I can from my garden. My little guy is helping me, and we're just grabbing handfuls of each. There's nothing more rewarding than actually getting to eat the fruits of your labor, literally. And I will say I'm so upset. I'm using my last onion from the season. I will definitely be making a lot more space for onions next year. I have a few green stalks and they just need to be full with onions at this point. I'm adding some celery along with those herbs. I'm adding some carrots, and then I'm also going to add my last onion, and you can add whatever you like. I'm also adding in some thyme. My thyme didn't take this year. I'm going to actually go buy a plant because I need it. And then I'm also adding some pepper and kosher salt. And then if you want, you can add more herbs. Then I'm going to use my pot filler. What should I? Not really. It's not a pot filler. I'm using my countertop and then just putting some water in the pot. When we were actually redoing our kitchen, they did ask me if I wanted a pot filler, and I at the time thought it was just something I didn't need, and I still don't think I need it because for big batches like this, when I'm using a ton of water, it's never really on the stovetop. It's usually in my slow cooker if I'm making a really slow and low bone broth, or my Instant Pot where I want it to get done really fast. So when I'm saying fast, if I use a slow cooker, it takes about 24 hours for me to get a good bone broth. But with my Instant Pot, it's 3 hours. And I still get that beautiful gelatinous broth. Unfortunately, my camera did not catch the beginning of this, but I strained most of the broth, and this is the end of the broth. And what I use is a strainer over a large measuring cup. And I use a measuring cup because it makes it so much easier to pour into my super cubes. And the reason I use super cubes is because it's so convenient. I don't have no other words for it. I love my super cubes. I use them for like beans. I use them for broth, soups, pretty much any leftovers that I want to have in a nice measured portion. And then what I do is I don't actually close these all the way because then I find it gets really hard to open them. And I also don't fill them overfilled. If you overfill them, it's very hard to open. Then once they're completely frozen, I'll actually remove them from the super cubes and then place them into a freezer safe container like a stasher bag or even a Ziploc bag. I like to use reusable if possible. And you could also just grab them out and get a cup or two of broth. You can even use smaller portions. They have a whole bunch of different sizes, but these are my favorite. So all of our broth is done. I will finish this up by this year, and then I will start a new batch, probably December or even January whenever I finish this. I always have it on hand, and I like to make sure it's always there for me to grab in the freezer. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider subscribing and give it a thumbs up. We'll see you guys soon. Bye.